Alrighty, welcome back. Another episode of Post-Fades and Cheesesteaks. I got myself Dakota, joined by Nick, one of our, well, I would say our most touted guests, our most famous guest here. What's going on in this lovely week leading up to the NFL kickoff?
Man, it's getting real when the Eagles are sending out emails. Hey, if you don't have a ticket, don't come down to the stadium because Giuseppe's on strike and parking is going to be a problem. So it's
Eee.
that's when you know it's starting to get real around here.
Yeah. Did you see, I think it was today, so Tuesday, they were saying that they're not coming out onto the field for the banner
Yeah,
unveiling.
I did see that. You know what? I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like it. It's a different team. If you're gonna keep selling this whole like it's a new year, we're not defending it, it would be contradictory to keep them out there.
Yeah, I think that's the only because in my mind, like if I was a player, I'd be like, I want to see that shit. But
Hmm.
from like you said, what they've been saying all offseason is that that's so far behind them. They've stopped partying. They don't even want to be known as like the defenders of the title. Um, which like again, I in their shoes, I feel like that's like extra motivation if I'm defending something. But I understand what their point is that they're a different team, as in they can be even better or whatever. So,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
yeah, the fact that they're following through with it, um, I like it. Whatever. If it was the first ever Super Bowl, like it was in 2017, 2018, I think they would
Sure.
have been, yeah, they would have been out there. But,
Sure.
um, so yeah, so Tim's doing his traveling around the world, aka from USA to London. But so very honored to have Tim, or excuse me, Nick join us. Um, probably better brains out of this bunch now. So we're just gonna do a breakdown of our season predictions, kind of a preview of the year. So we're gonna go through division winners, uh, brief briefly go through like a playoff bracket, but mostly pick like our Super Bowl winners, and then from there, MVP, Coach of the Year, rookies, all that good stuff, and then finish up by picking Week One games. It's finally that time of year. I already threw down money on a touchdown parlay, so
Oh man, we are really in this now.
yeah, I saw one on what was it TikTok, some guy, and I was like, you know what, I kind of like what he was saying, so I was like, ride it, whatever. So I usually do like a four-player touchdown parlay every Sunday,
Mm.
but this one was like a six leg, so a little
I do
ballsy.
like a ra- I do like a round robin on the touchdown. Pick
Hmm.
five and do like a three, four, or five.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I haven't experimented with those too much, but might have to because I took a lot of L's betting last NFL season. But alrighty, so let's start in. We can start on the NFC. Start with the reigning champ division, the NFC East. Who do you have winning that? And if so, where do you see kind of Washington? And I'm assuming we both have Cowboys and the Giants missing the playoffs, but
yeah, so I think this year is interesting for the NFC East. In the storyline is going to be about the fact there's been no repeat winners, and everyone's picking this to be the year the Commanders take the next step forward. And
hmm
um, I do have a strong feeling that the Giants could be better than their 5.5 game win total. I think that defensive line is going to be reminiscent of their heyday defensive line when they were, you know, had the OCU Manura and Michael Strahan, and we were just getting after dudes. I don't think their offense is going to score a ton of points, and that so they're going to have to win a lot of games,
yeah.
17-14 and stuff like that. Neighbors is clearly a dog.
hmm
Um, I think halfway through the season they'll probably try to figure out if Jackson Dart is a player. Um, I think this Cowboys just got a big gut punch with everybody thinking Micah would be back, and then in the you know 13th hour, he gets sent off to the team that embarrassed them. at home a couple of years ago in the playoffs.
They play like pretty
So
early too, like week four.
week
Yeah,
four, that's Sunday Night Football, week four. That's going to be exciting.
yeah,
Um, so I mean, I think they're definitely in a weird spot. I do think the Commanders being the oldest team in the NFL and
crazy.
not really being as aggressive as I would have liked this offseason for a team who's got the dream thing, the
Hmm.
young quarterback on the rookie contract where he's costing you fractions of the cost of what he is going to cost you eventually when that rookie contract runs out.
Right.
I would have liked to see them take a bigger swing than a back nine of his career, Laramie Tunsil, and not let Terry McLaurin practice for a month with your team, and you're ultimately going to pay him $32 million a year anyways.
Hmm.
Just give him the money. Like that was valuable reps and time he didn't get with Jaden, which is stupid to me because you were giving him the money no matter what. We all knew you were giving him the money. So I don't know what we were doing there. You paid 13 other guys who were 30 or over. Just give it to the guy who's been there.
Yeah.
Um, but I think at the end of the day, everything I've seen from the Eagles this offseason, um, from the moves they made. I mean, obviously, because we're local, everybody scrutinizes every single thing. Oh, CB2, safety three. Like, guess what? Like, when Jalen Carter's on the field and Cooper DeJean's on the field and Quinyon Mitchell's on the field and Zach Bond's on the field
Yep.
and Jahad Campbell's on the field and Jordan
Uh-huh.
Davis is blocking up the center
Uh-huh.
and Reed Blankenship, who is just like the king of the clutch time interception. Like
Yep.
they have enough, and you've got Vic Fangio, who's moving all the pieces back there. They're going to be able to cover up holes. Are they going to be the number one defense again? I don't know, but I think their offense is going to be even better than it was last year.
Hmm.
And we'll get to some more of that later. But I think that the Eagles break the curse and repeat as division champions.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I mean, I think obviously because I was going through the schedule and it's tough. I think they're gonna start out slow again. Well, not slow, but I think, probably start off like 2-2, then rile off some wins. But I don't think it's gonna be like last year where it's like an identity crisis. I just think they have, I mean, we play at Tampa again. So
Mhm.
um it's not gonna be easy sailing, but um, I think people make an argument for the Commanders in that, oh, well, they've Jane Daniels has seen the Eagles 3 times now. He'll be good to go. It's like, well, the Eagles have also seen him 3 times. So,
Mhm.
um, defenses are going to be locked in on him and kind of what he's able to do. But yeah, I got Eagles taking the division 12-5. Commanders, I had 10-7 or 11-6. And then I had Cowboys third place, missing to the playoffs, and then the Giants. I think it depends on what happens at quarterback because I do think the defense is going to be good. They have a insane pass rush potential with those guys back there, but I don't know. I kind of had them around 4 or 5 wins, so we'll see. Maybe Jackson Dart takes over midseason for Grandpa Russ, and maybe they do something. But um, all right, so Eagles Commanders up top. Then we just jump down to the NFC West, or I guess jump over. Um, I'll lead off this one. I think as a resident 49ers hater, I think it's funny that a lot of people are not expecting them to win this division with
Mhm.
question marks on the Rams' health, question marks at Seattle with their defense, new quarterback. The Cardinals are always a wild card of are they going to actually put it together? Are they going to be another miserable year for them? Is Kyler Murray going to ever take another step, or is he just going to be this middle of the road quarterback? Um, but 49ers have a fairly easy schedule when I was looking at it, so I think they'll cruise to 12-5. I think the Rams will.
Whoa, 12-5.
Yeah, I think I do have concerns about their defense. They lost a ton of people. Their line is not the same what it used to be. CMC, we don't know if he's going to last all year. But Purdy was pretty consistent for them last year. Um, I think any team that has question marks is going to be helped by good coaching, and Shanahan's one of the best in the league. So I think they'll be fine. And then I have the Rams 10-7. I think they're going to have some injury problems throughout the year. And then I have Seattle and Arizona finishing out that division.
Hmm, very interesting. I'm somebody who is of the mindset. I think the 49ers missed their window,
I
and
hope so.
that window was going to close once they had to start selling off some of their skill position players, and they had to pay Brock Purdy.
Hmm.
And we now live in that world. Love him or hate him, Debo was a really big piece of that offense. The role that he played and the interchangeability between him and CMC on the offense, and you could put Debo in the backfield and split out CMC and all the fun kind of things that Shanahan likes to do with that.
Yeah.
IU coming off an injury, Jawan Jennings kind of playing this, you should really be paying me more game. Um, I'm and then they lost some big pieces of their defense, with the soul of the defense losing a Dre Greenlaw and Hufanga, two guys who were big hitters on that defense, real like tempo setters. They've never really had a good defensive back, like they've
Yeah.
never really had a good corner. Um, so I'm kind of in the 49ers need a little bit of a soft reset. I actually think if they could get rid of Ayuk, I'd probably be in more favor of that and flipping that for something.
They just signed
Um,
him too.
I know, and they were talking about trading him.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so I'm out on the Niners. I hear the concern about the Rams, especially with Matt Stafford not knowing what is up with his health.
Yeah.
However, I think that LA Rams front is gonna be just tenacious. Like there's not a lot of
Yeah.
teams that the Eagles offensive line have struggled with. They struggled with that Rams D line.
Yeah. Jared
Like
Verse
being at
gave my lot of business. Like,
oh, Jared Verse, Kobe Turner, like Braden
hmm.
Fisk, like they're young, they're hungry,
Yeah.
and they're now at the point where another big year means payday. Like they're at years 2 and 3. They're at another big year means life-changing money.
Yeah.
And I think Puka Nacua is really stepping into that role of being an alpha. I think Devonte Adams is going to help way more than Cooper Cup was, and was drawing some other attention away from Nacua. Kyron Williams is really impressed there. Um, and their offensive line, while not stellar individually, their zone run scheme works really well, and
Hmm.
and they run it really well together. I was between the Rams and the Seahawks. I think the Seahawks interest me and they have a really good defense. I think they have a shot to really be something. But I ended up going with the Rams. I think their defense carries them. I think they have a good turnover differential this year.
Okay.
I think if the Matthew Stafford injuries are actually significant, um, they could easily make a move at the deadline. The Rams have never been afraid to give up draft picks
Oh,
to make
of
it to make a
course not.
move. So if there's any sort of chance, I mean, you got to look at the Giants. I mean, I they could go call for Jameis Winston. I think Jameis Winston could get the ball. He'll throw 25 picks, but he'll throw 50 touchdowns. So they'll figure it out there.
Yeah.
I think the Rams find a way. I think the Seahawks are going to be good. I think the Seahawks will be a good team this year. Um, but I think the Rams end up finding a way. And I have no trust in Arizona. I think this is the last year we see of Kyler Murray as a Cardinal.
That's that's a pretty bold take. I don't disagree. I think him and Trevor Lawrence are both on like incredibly tight leashes. So we'll see. Um,
Oh, yeah, I'm not frozen on mine.
all right. So NFC South. Um,
Mm, the worst
this
of the worst.
it's not great. Um, I actually I'm pretty high on the Buccaneers. I think they're sneakily like a really well-rounded team. Um, and their wide receiver room is crazy if Godwin comes back fully healthy. Mayfield does a good job with the ball now. Bucky Irving's a stud. Good coaching. I like the defense. So I got them winning division at around 11-6. Um,
Okay.
and then I got Falcons 9-8, maybe. Good year from Penix. There's promise, but not quite enough. And then Panthers, I think 6-11. It depends on Bryce Young. They could definitely compete for a wild card if he comes out and balls, but I think they're still a super young team and they're figuring it out. And then the Saints, my prediction is that they're going to be the worst team in the league. And I have them
Mm.
at 3 wins. So
That is definitely possible. So, you know, this division kind of spoke to me when I was doing a lot of my draft research for fantasy.
mm,
And I kept noticing like, hey, this running back's a first run running back. Hey, this receiver's in the back end of the hey, this guy. And I kept coming back to Falcons players. And I was
hmm,
like, you know what? This just might be the year. I think they made the bold move last year to draft Michael Penix. We
yeah,
were all shocked about it because it just paid Kirk Cousins. Um, and they made the decision to move to Penix, which surprised a lot of us, but I think he showed that he just had something they were never going to get with Kirk. Um, and I think they have been so horrible in the edge rush, so why not go draft two first round defensive ends?
it was
And at
bold.
least one of them's got a hit.
Hope you would hope.
Uh So no, I think it's the Falcons find a way. I mean I think the Bucks have been great. They obviously like it's the one team I don't want to see in the playoffs. I'll tell you right now, just because man, we have struggles with Tampa Bay. Um, but I think they're already kind of getting a little bit of that injury bug. You get Tristan Wirfs starting the year hurt, Chris Godwin. Um, I know it's kind of already starting a little bit there.
Yeah.
I'm very high on Emeka Egbuka. I think he's
Hmm.
going to be great. I think he's going to be an absolute stud there. Um, I do think we probably start seeing a little bit of Mike Evans regression. I think we're kind of like getting to. I mean, eventually it has to happen. Guy can have a
Yeah.
thousand yards every
I
year.
mean, last year I think we saw a little bit of it, but he was also
Yeah,
injured.
yeah. So I'm gonna round my divi. Oh no, no, we didn't do the North yet. Nope, I'm staying the South. I'm gonna go with Atlanta.
Atlanta, okay. And then going down to the NFC North, um, this division's kind of tough. I had to go back and forth
It is tough.
on like wins and losses for each team and head to heads and stuff. But I had starting in reverse, I had the Bears going 5-12.
Oh,
I think it's a rough year for Ben Johnson as a new coach. I think they struggle, but I think Caleb shows a lot more promise this year than he did last year. The Vikings, I think, a similar vein where it's like JJ McCarthy try out, he gets some footing underneath him, and I think they start slow, and I think they make a mid-season push, but it's not enough. So I have them around like nine or 8 wins, and then everyone's really high on the Packers, but I feel like I was in the same boat last year where like they just have too many concerns, especially now at cornerback without Alexander. Um, but I have them going around 10, 11 wins. I think second in division. Then I have the Lions once again taking the throne around 11 wins. So
so I think the Bears take a step forward. Um, I'm not sure what that's going to mean for them and how big of a step forward it is. I think I can't credit how much of a wizard Ben Johnson has been for Detroit and not think that because the one thing the Bears do have is offensive weapons. They do
yeah,
have guys on that side of the ball, and I think he can be plenty creative, and I think he can find ways to make them interesting there. Just tough because that division is strong.
yeah, they are.
Um, I think Minnesota played way above who they were last year. And bringing in JJ McCarthy for his first NFL snaps this year, I am not seeing a repeat performance of last year. So closer to probably I think like a nine-ish win team.
Yeah.
Um, The Lions, I th as much as Ben Johnson has impressed me over the past 2 years, I think what Aaron Glenn did with that defense,
Hmm.
especially up to the end of the year with who, I mean, they were taking guys off the street and playing them 2 days later.
I think they had like
It,
nine different starting corners.
yeah, like
This
what
is
Aaron
wild.
Glenn was doing with that team was wild and
Yeah.
remarkably impressive. And we saw what it was like losing both of our coordinators after Super Bowl, and
Yep.
I think that's a lot. And while I think Dan Campbell is a great culture guy, he is. This is no knock on Dan Campbell. I think the X's and O's that he got from Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn did a lot of the day-to-day football
Hmm.
operating that I'm not confident that the replacements are just going to step in and replicate. Um, the Packers lost a ton of really close games last year. They beat everybody except for the top three teams.
Yep.
And they couldn't get over the hump of beating the Lions, the Vikings, and the Eagles. They beat everybody else they could beat. And I think that when you make a move for Micah, which smart on their part, I mean, they're only paying Jordan Love. They've got the money to make it happen.
Hmm.
If they're correct, they gave up two late first round picks. Um, and a 30-year-old Kenny Clark, who was a good player there, but you always trade good for great
Yep.
any day of the week. I felt good about the Packers before the trade, and the trade kind of put me over the top with them. And they finally drafted a first round wide receiver, which they never do.
Hmm.
I think they made the moves they need to make. And the Lions last year only played 2 games outdoors all year. Like that schedule changes a lot for them. I think they'll still be good. I'm not gonna say they're gonna go from 15 wins to 7, but I
Yeah.
think that I think the Packers, and there's no way psychologically what happened to the Lions last year doesn't have some carryover effect where you started that strong, that good, and then just couldn't keep pace in the way they fizzle it out at the end. I think there's a little bit of a hangover in getting used to their new coordinators, versus the Packers are the youngest team in football and just brought in a generational talent at edge rusher and gave him Curly Lambeau's jersey that hasn't been worn in decades. So
Yeah.
I think that and Josh Jacobs is still an absolute dog.
Oh
So
yeah.
it's it I think it's the Packers in that division this year.
Yeah, I think how Detroit handles losing those coaches is gonna impact a lot of that team, but we will see. And then Tim did chime in with his, so he had the Lions winning, the Bucks, the Rams, and the Eagles as division winners. So moving on to what might possibly be the worst division in history of the NFL, the AFC South.
Oh, oh,
Um, I want to preface by saying I said the Saints would be the worst team in the NFL. Well, I have the Titans, also three-win team, right next to them. And then I have the Colts, maybe getting 5 wins, and being the 15th or not the 15th, but the 30th or 31st worst team. So yeah, it's gonna be rough. However, I'm on the positive Jaguar side in thinking that Cohen did such great work with Baker Mayfield and the Bucks that I'm gonna take the over and say he's going to do great work with Trevor Lawrence and getting him right. So I do have the Jags 10 wins, making the seventh seed for the playoffs. But ultimately, Houston wins this division in a tiebreaker, also with 10 wins. But I have Houston taking the division. So surprised that the worst division gets two playoff teams, but that's just kind of how it worked out.
so I'm not going to give a long speech. I am just I think the Texans win this deplorable division, and CJ Stroud has a little bit of a bounce back after a down year, and it's the Texans division.
Fair enough. Moving to the AFC East, I I think the Dolphins. This could be a year where we see McDaniels get fired. I think they've been
I agree.
super underwhelming. I think they have a lot of talent, but not a lot to show for it. So I have them finishing last in this division. Still 6 or 7 wins, but definitely a disappointment. Um, then I have the Jets, kind of optimistic. I have around 8 wins for them. I think Fields does enough to get them some
Hmm.
some wins, and I think that defense kind of returns to what they used to be after that weird year they had last year after firing Salah. I think Sauce returns to being a top corner. And then a lot of people are high on the Patriots making that last wild card spot. And Drake May taking a big leap, but I have them around also 8 or 9 wins, but not making the playoffs. And then obviously Bills, repeat champion, taking the division.
So I'll talk about the Patriots a little bit later. But
Oh,
I do agree that I think that this could be the last we see of Mike McDaniel. This could be the last we see of Tua. To me, isn't a little bit of a Kyler Murray situation of this could
yeah.
be and you know I'll tell you people are not afraid to get rid of quarterbacks they've already paid. That kind of started with the Eagles when
Hmm.
they got rid of Carson Wentz, and
Yeah.
we've seen it time and time again with Russell Wilson and um, who else got moved? Somebody else got moved this past year, but they're not afraid to move on from quarterbacks, even at the cost. They'll spread it out. They want to just reset that. So that wouldn't shock me. I think it's the Bills' year again. I think the Bills take that division, but I think the Patriots. I like them as a wild card team.
Okay.
I do.
All right. I think this division is going to be this next one is the most intriguing in the AFC side. I have the AFC West.
Intriguing.
I do have the Chiefs once again winning the division. About I think 12 wins. I think they take a little L's, a couple L's this year.
Mhm.
Um, and then I guess you would say my surprise team, but a lot of people are picking them. I think the Broncos come in as a 6 seed in the playoffs. I think they make the wild card 10 wins. Um, I really like their defense. It's really come along. I think as much as I dislike Sean Payton, he does maximize his offensive talent. So I think, we're going to see some. I think Sutton could have his best year ever. So we'll see kind of how
Mhm.
they work out. Bo Nix is a good young quarterback. I think the I think the Chargers are going to be disappointing. I actually have the Raiders finishing third in the division and the Chargers finishing fourth. I have the Chargers with 7 wins, Raiders maybe 8 wins. I think Geno actually helps propel them to a lot of wins. I think Max Crosby I have as my defensive player of the year. I think that defense is surprising for people. So we'll see how the division shapes up, but Chiefs on top, and then Broncos making the one of the wild card spots.
I feel the same. I think I think the Chiefs take a step back, but a step back for them still wins the division.
Yeah.
I think they've become a good, not great team to me.
Hmm.
Um, Travis is clearly he's lost that step, he's lost that
Yeah.
edge. Um, they've got a couple wide receivers that have got some speed, and they're trying to figure out. The offensive line is still a problem. It's been
Hmm.
a problem, still a problem. And I think so many of the top teams have invested so much more in their defense, especially the defensive line. I think that's going to be a real issue for them. Um, and a couple of their defensive line draft picks over the last years have not been the greatest. I mean,
Yeah.
Karlaftis is okay, but that Felix whatever hyphen name, like he's out for the year.
Yep.
Like they're just not super impressive on that side. So, but I do think the Chiefs find a way. 11 wins.
Hmm.
But I think the Broncos, are like a one game behind the division situation,
Yep.
end up a wild card.
Um, and then the last division, AFC North. Ravens on top. Obviously, I think they'll finish with the best record in the NFL this year. I think they left off or pick up right where they left off. high hopes for the Bengals. I think their offense is going to do more this year, if that's possible, to offset their terrible defense. I think Trey Hendrickson is once again going to play with his hair on fire, even more so now because he's definitely getting out of Cleveland and definitely, or excuse me, Cincinnati, and definitely going to get paid this year, just coming up here. Um, had the Steelers, of course, had to go over 500, so had them at 9 wins, not making playoffs though. And then I think the Browns could. It depends. I mean, Joe Flacco, he hasn't played more than 7 games since like I think 2015 in a season. So we'll see. I don't think this whole Shador drama. I don't think he really sees the field. I don't think Dylan Gabriel really sees the field unless there's injuries to, you know, Flacco. But I think they're going to be competitive. I think their defense has always been kind of solid. So maybe 7 wins for them, but Ravens on top.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Ravens are going to be the 1 seed in the AFC this year.
Yep.
That defense is phenomenal. What Lamar's got that offense doing, and Derrick Henry, it's amazing. They might have the best 12 personnel offense in football, with Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely.
Yeah.
So I think they have the best record in the AFC and um, potentially the NFL this year. And I think the Bengals take the other one of the wild card spots, but I think it's in typical Bengals fashion where it comes down to right
The
at the
last
end of the
game.
year. It's gonna take them all the way up to the end. Maybe they don't start as bad as they have been, but I still think they are going to be in shootouts week in and week out. That defense is horrible.
Yeah.
So
We will see. We will see. But all right, so that will wrap up our division winners. And then AFC side, we had the Broncos winning over the Chiefs.
I was close. I was really close with going with that pick.
He had the Ravens, Texans, and the Bills. So most of the divisions are pretty straightforward. But yeah, the Chiefs, they got some, that dynasty might have to take a little lunch break. They got some competition right behind them. So we will see. All right, so now we're going to get into the playoffs. So just a fun little storyline from mine. Um, AFC is pretty straightforward. Wild card, I have Bengals, Texans, Broncos, Bills, Jags, and the Chiefs. Um, those are pretty straightforward. But I got the Bengals winning, the Bills winning, and the Chiefs winning. NFC side, we got a rematch with the Commanders and the Lions in the wild card. I got the Lions winning, getting their revenge. I got Rams and Bucks again with the surprise Bucks team. I got them beating the Rams, who, like you said, I think the Rams could be one of the better teams. And then I got the Niners over the Packers, assuming the Niners stay relatively healthy and their players are playing to the CMCs, playing in the playoffs, stuff like that. I think they get that win. Um, and then over to the divisional, which I already forget what I had here. Um, we get the Eagles Lions matchup. I got Eagles beating the Lions. And then Buccaneers beating the 49ers. So I got Eagles Buccaneers NFC Championship game. AFC side, the Bills once again have to face the Kansas City Chiefs, and they take care of business. They finally beat them. They're actually, I think, 4-1 in the regular season, or Josh Allen's 4-1 against Pat Mahomes in the regular season, but they just can't beat them in the playoffs. So have them finally getting over the hump in a down year for the Chiefs, and then Ravens taking care of their division rival, the Bengals. So Bills, Ravens, AFC Championship game. Um, and then again, the story of revenge. The Eagles take care of the Bucks. They finally get over that Buccaneers curse, get back to the Super Bowl, and then I have the Ravens beating the Bills. So the Bills finally beat the Chiefs, but then they have to face the gauntlet that is Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry. and they couldn't get it done. So Eagles Ravens Super Bowl. I think I had the same prediction last year, so we're gonna stick with that. How are you looking at the playoffs?
So we're very, very similar.
Okay.
The only difference is I have NFC Championship, um, uh, Eagles Packers,
Oh, you're high on the
and
Packers. Okay.
I am high on the Packers this year. I think sometimes you got to build. I think this team's been building for a bit. I do think it's a year where the Packers impress, but I think they ultimately fall short of the Eagles.
Hmm.
The Eagles advance to Super Bowl. I also think the Bills beat the Chiefs, but then they end up losing to the Ravens in the AFC Championship, and we get a Ravens Eagles Super Bowl.
It's what the
And
people want.
it will be a great one. It would
Good.
be a great Super Bowl,
Little
and
East Coast.
I do think it'll have a similar outcome to how last year came, and I think the Eagles find a way and they go back to back.
Yeah, I think that it just feels it doesn't even feel like a homer pick. Like I feel like they are the best team, and the way they're taking the off season and the leading up to the beginning of the year, it just feels like they have it locked down, and it would be pandemonium in Philadelphia if we had a repeat
Mhm.
champion. But hey, we'd be getting closer to we'd be tied with Washington for Super Bowl rings, and we'd be two away from what, Dallas? I think the Giants have four. So, um, but yeah,
Yeah,
I
they're just
think
they're so good. And like you find me another roster in the NFL that and I think the Ravens are probably the
I was gonna
closest,
say
and
the
that's
Ravens. Yeah,
that's why they're
yeah,
that's why we both got them in the Super Bowl. But I think just top to bottom, starters, offense, defense, it's this team is legit and built.
yeah, yeah. It's a popular pick, but I think it's the obvious one that makes the most sense, whether you're an expert or like a passerby who knows just very little. That these are the
Mhm.
two best teams, and the two best teams should be playing in the Super Bowl. So,
Yeah.
um, off of that, I would say a Jalen Hurts repeat MVP for the Super Bowl. Um, but going into actual MVP, to kind of go back off of what I was saying about the Bengals needing to score even more points, I'm going
Mhm.
to take, since it's almost always a quarterback,
Mhm.
I'm going to say Joe Burrow gets his MVP trophy. Um, and then Justin Jefferson, him and Jamar swap. Um, and then he takes over as the best receiver this year, and he wins Offensive Player of the Year. Um, I don't think Cam Ward is going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. I think he's going to struggle. I think a lot of people are just assuming he's going to take over how Stroud came in, had a great year. Then it was Daniels came in, had a great year. I don't that Titans team is so bad. So I just can't see it. I'm gonna say the bag or the Broncos running back Harvey. I think he's
Mhm.
gonna take that lead role early, and he's gonna get a lot of catches, a lot of rushes, and kind of take run away with it. Um, and then that's for the offensive side. So I'll let you catch up before I just run through all the awards.
So I'm I've been saying that while I think that Jalen Hurts envies Michael Jordan a lot, clearly,
Hmm.
I think Jalen has a lot of Kobe to his game
Right.
as a football player. He's just a killer. He comes up big in the big moments. Um, he's kind of got that swagger, and the whole way that he just seems to be his best when people doubt him the most. And I think him coming off a year where they win a Super Bowl, he wins Super Bowl MVP, and still no matter what, everybody else is allowed to be great, but he is not. Nobody's got any problem talking about how great the offensive line is. Nobody has any problem talking about how great the receivers are, the tight end or the defense. But for some reason, he doesn't get the credit for how great he is.
Hmm.
And a year coming off of Saquon. I think I said 470 touches between regular season and playoffs last year. Um, I think they're going to find creative ways to get him a little bit less touches with like AJ Dillon in the fourth quarter, kind of getting the grind away carries, and Will Shipley being the 2 minute offense back and
Mm.
4 minute offense. And I do think this is the year we get Jalen's best statistical season. And I think that on top of them winning as many games, I think they win. I think he proves a lot of people wrong and he takes home the MVP he would have got in 22 had he not got injured. Um,
I
and
like
I
it.
think he closes that out this year. Um, Dallas is going to have to score 30 points a game. And I think because of that, CD Lamb ends up the OPOY and
Okay.
he wins Offensive Player of the Year.
Okay, I could see
Um,
that.
they're that defense is just not good. It
The-
is it is it is not good. They are gonna get
Their
and it's
philosophy is weird because they're like, we're gonna be built to stop the run. Okay, well, dude, who's gonna stop the air? Like, I
yeah,
don't
yeah,
know.
I just think they're gonna let up a ton of points.
Yeah.
They have no running game, and I think they're gonna realize that very quickly this year. When Miles Sanders is your backup and he couldn't even be a running back in Carolina.
Poor
That's
guy.
that's bad. Um, I think it's gonna be a year CeeDee Lamb has like something crazy, 120 catches, just something ridiculous. I think he wins OPOY. I think Ashton Genty wins Offensive Rookie of the Year. I think the Raiders are really going to commit to him and try to go forward with this young core of Brock Bowers and Genty and
It's a
just kind
nice
of lean,
tandem.
yeah, just sort of lean on those guys, especially to Pete Carroll led offense.
Hmm.
Um, so I think Genty wins OPOY. Um, and then you didn't bring it up, but Protector of the Year on offense, I think goes to Jordan Mailata to help
Mm.
that Jalen Hurts MVP case. I think he's gonna have that type. He's finally starting to get some national attention of not just being the rugby guy who made it, but wow, this guy is legit.
Yeah.
Um, and I think he stays healthy this year. He keeps Jalen clean. He's been a big leader of the team over the last year and a half.
Got that badge now.
Yeah, I think he comes through with Protector of the Year.
Yeah, I would second that for my Lada. Um, I wanted to go um Jalen MVP, and I forget, I listened to another podcast the other day or maybe this morning. They one of their guys said Jalen is MVP. But I agree with you in that I think he's gonna throw more. I think he's gonna be more of a weapon, and he'll never admit it, but I think there's a fire building up in him where he just wants to like shut everyone up. And I know he puts on a this I don't want to call it an act because I think he generally doesn't care what people think. But I think deep down anyone would be like, you know what, let me stun on them. Let me show them because remember that one clip he had where he threw like a touchdown to someone. He's like, that's who the F I am. It's like that's what I often do. And I'm like,
Mhm.
yeah, let's do that regularly. Let's show people, you know, how good you can be. And we'll see with the new offensive coordinator, how much they want him to throw. But I agree they need to keep Saquon fresh. So I definitely think he's in the top five for contenders of MVP.
And just to think about this for a second. So I'm going to give you a quick rundown because I think
Hmm.
he's still going to rush a lot too. He's going to get a lot of rushing touchdowns. Okay.
Okay.
Since 2021,
Hmm.
tied for fourth in rushing touchdowns. Jonathan Taylor, Josh Allen, Joe Mixon all have 40.
Yeah.
Okay. Third place, Josh Jacobs has 42.
Okay.
Second place, Derrick Henry, 51. And
Hmm.
first place, Jalen Hurts, 52 rushing
52.
touchdowns.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can pencil in the fact the guy's going to have 10 to 12 rushing touchdowns, probably 600, 700 yards, probably
Yep.
50, 55 first downs. Um, and then, if he goes and throws for 3,800 and they win 13, 14 games and they're a one seed,
Hmm.
um, I can see it. I can see this being the year, he puts it together. He had the big stat year, runner-up MVP. They had that they had that regression year.
Yep.
Then last year was just about winning, and they rode Saquon. I think it finds its way back to him. I think he saw the NFC Championship game. They saw him in the Super Bowl. I think he's like, and he said something that's always stuck with me, where he says, "Just because we don't doesn't mean we can't,
Right.
and just because we haven't been
Yep.
passing a lot doesn't mean we can't do it." And I think he finds in, and I think Kevin Patullo wants to, show he's got a little something something to him
We'll
there.
see. We'll
So
see.
I think they make that work.
I like it. And then switching over to defensive player side. Um, Obvious choice. I have Abdul Carter of the Giants winning Rookie of the Year for defense. Um, Now, this is what sucks for me because I really, really kind of like with Hurts how I wanted to put him in, but even more so, I wanted to put Quinion as Defensive Player of the Year. However, like how MVP is a quarterback award, Defensive Player of the Year is typically a edge rusher linebacker
Mhm.
award,
Yep.
and I cannot see a world where a cornerback wins back-to-back years because it was Surtain and before him
Yep.
was Lattimore like 8 years ago or something like that.
Mhm.
So I have Max Crosby winning Defensive Player of the Year, and then right behind him, getting second most votes, I would say Quinion. I think he's going to just be insane again this year. Um, and then Comeback Player of the Year, I think Aiden Hutchinson's pretty obvious.
Mhm.
Um, and then Coach of the Year, you could flip a coin. I think if the Broncos, if they win the division, I'll say Sean Payton. Otherwise, I think the popular choice is Mike Vrabel.
Mhm.
He gets to coach for the team he played for, gonna have them, compete for a wild card spot with the Patriots. So, um, this is my
We
kind
we
of
are we are very close there, Dakota. Man,
okay, okay.
I'm gonna go with Abdul Carter. I think he's gonna be a dog.
Mhm.
Um, I think the only shot he doesn't get the sack numbers he needs is if their offense just struggles to score so much that other teams end up running and
Yeah,
not passing a lot because they're always kind of getting the leads. But I think Abdul Carter is gonna for sure could be the defensive rookie of the year. Um, Hutch, I think, wins comeback player of the year. I think he actually wins. I think he comes runner up in defensive player of the year, um, to Miles Garrett, who's going to win defensive player of the year again. I mean,
pencil him in.
he is just like
And on a
when,
bad team too. How often do you see
yeah,
good players
yeah.
win on bad teams?
He's just
Not human.
unreal. I mean, like,
He's a Derrick
if
Henry of
every
defense players.
everybody would say the Eagles have the best tackle duo in football, and that is not a like big statement.
Hmm.
He killed them in joint practices,
Yep.
both of them. And if
Yep.
he's killing Lane Johnson and Jordan Mailata, are you kidding me? Who like nobody's blocking that guy. He's a
He
game. He's a game
he
wrecker,
might have negative body fat percentage. Like there's not
dude.
he's just pure
Oh my
muscle.
God, he is an ab. He's there's a couple players where you're like when he was trying to do the trade request and everything, I was just like, you give him any and everything, and you make it work. There's
Hmm.
very few guys like that. He is one of those guys. When they were taught, when you know, you could have told me we gave up 3 first round picks, and I would have been like, wouldn't even have blinked nor cared. Been like,
Right.
absolutely, you make that trade every day. Um, he's just an absolute dog. I agree on the coach of the year thing. I think if the Broncos do find that way to win, I think you go Sean Payton. If not, I think more likely it's Mike Vrabel
Yeah.
as a coach of the year. Um, he's already getting the bottom of fights, and he's just scrappy, and I think he's just kind of Mr. Patriot, and I think he brings them back to being they're gonna have some gritty wins this year that really impress people. Um, I think they're going to be a really, really good team. Um, yeah, yeah, I think they are.
All right. And then to kind of round out. the end of our predictions here. Give me one surprise team. We might have already touched on them, and then one overrated team.
Oh, um, I'm surprised. Mhm. I don't know that's a huge surprise because it's not like a crazy thing, but I
Hmm.
do think the Falcons end up better than people are expecting. I do think that
I think that's a surprise. I mean, I don't think a lot of people are picking them to win the division, but
yeah, I think people kind of penciled in the Bucks as the
yeah.
division winner, and I think they find a way to win enough to make that happen.
Okay.
So I'd say that I'll pick them as my surprise.
I would
Biggest,
go good.
no, good, good. Figured surprise.
I would say besides the Broncos, I would say again, I'm really leaning on this new coach to help Trevor Lawrence and the Jags, and I think they have a lot of young talent, especially like even on defense. I think they have a lot of good players. I think their linebackers are sneakily very talented if they can just put enough wins together and play as a unit. Um, Travis Hunter experiment is going to be interesting. Um, I like their running backs aren't really, you know, established at who's one and who's two, but I think between, ETN and even the rookie Tootin out of Virginia Tech I loved watching in college. I think they have a lot of young talent. So it's a matter of maximizing that, and I'm going to say they get more than people think they will out of them. Um, as far as overrated or teams that I don't think are going to do well, um, I just I feel like back to the I mean, I think the Vikings are going to be good in a sense, but I don't see them being better than the Lions or being better than Detroit. I don't see JJ McCarthy right now putting together fourth quarter comebacks to win them games. So I think people are kind of putting them fairly high based on the talent elsewhere, but when your team doesn't have a good quarterback, your talent everywhere else can only take you so far. So um, obviously, really depending on how he plays, but I think they're being a little overrated right now. Um, and then Tim said he thinks the Pats are a surprise team and that the Bears are being overrated and that they're going to be a top 10 worst team, which,
I would, I
eh,
would, I would say I think the Vikings are going to have the biggest drop off of
oh,
like total wins year over year because I don't even have
yeah,
them in the playoffs and they won 14 games last year.
I would say
Uh,
Dolphins too, because I hit on them
um,
earlier.
but I'd say I think the Lions take a step back. I think the Chiefs take a step back. Um, I think people assume the Commanders are going to take a bigger step forward. I don't see coming. Um, but I think if I say overrated, I think the assumption that the 49ers are going to bounce back is going to be the most overhyped that doesn't actually come through.
I hope so.
I think they still end up third place in that division.
Yeah. We'll see. Again, yeah, it's all factor dependent, but um okay. Then per usual, we got our uh power rankings to kind of round out this episode. Um Normally we do our top 10, but for the season opener, we're gonna have full 32. So we'll start off at the back end to get rid of all the bad teams. We got the New Orleans Saints at 32. 31 is the Titans. 30 is the Colts. 29 is the Cleveland Browns. 28, the New York Football Jets. 27, the Panthers. 26, the Giants. 25, Chicago Bears. 24, Atlanta Falcons. 23, the Cowboys. 22, the Patriots. 21, Jacksonville Jaguars. 20, the Steelers. 19, the Miami Dolphins. 18, the Seahawks. 17, the Las Vegas Raiders. 16, the Arizona Cardinals. 15, the Chargers. 14, the Houston Texans. 13, the Minnesota Vikings. 12, the Cincinnati Bengals. 11, the San Francisco 49ers. And then the top 10, which very fluid list. This will change probably a lot, at least the back half. Um, 10, we have the Green Bay Packers. 9, the LA Rams. Or excuse me, 8, the LA Rams. 9 is the Denver Broncos. Pretty high on them. 7, the Tampa Bay Bucks. 6, Washington Commanders. 5, Detroit Lions. 4, the Kansas City Chiefs. 3, the Buffalo Bills. Number 2, the Baltimore Ravens. And number 1, the reigning, defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. Number 1 on our power rankings to start this year. And hopefully they stay there and ride it out all year. But those are our power rankings, 1 to 32. And then to kind of wrap this up, we got to kick it off by doing our week 1 game picks. So we are fully back in NFL mode. So exciting. I'm so happy my Sundays are occupied again. So we'll kick it off. Cowboys at the Eagles to watch them unveil the Super Bowl banner. What a lovely sight for those players. Who you got?
It's the biggest spread of the week, taking the Eagles.
Hell yeah, go Birds. Um, Next game we got mix of some divisional games, a mix of some non-divisional games. Chargers at the, or excuse me, Chiefs at the Chargers.
Chiefs are taking that game.
Yeah, I'm gonna go KC as well. Can't see that. I mean, they lost against the
Oh, I
Lions,
forgot. That's
I
that
think.
that's the overseas game.
Yeah,
Are they
that's on.
playing in Brazil?
Yeah, that's on Friday. So
Is it
yeah,
Brazil they're
actually
playing in?
not at the charts. Sao. Wait, I
Sao
forget.
Paulo again?
I don't know if it's again. It's overseas. I know that much. I don't
Hold on.
know
Chiefs first Chargers. Uh yeah, it's Brazil.
Brazil. Okay,
Yep, same. They're playing where we played last year.
I'm still going KC, but
Yeah, no, it's not gonna change anything. But yeah. Yep.
uh, Dolphins at the Colts. I'm gonna take the Dolphins as the least worst team.
Yeah, that's Daniel Jones led Colts.
I can't believe that.
I'll take the Dolphins.
Watch them come out and actually be like how Sam Darnold was last year. Just lights the league on fire. Um, we got Steelers at the Jets. Go. I'm gonna go Pittsburgh, I guess. That's
Yeah,
another ugly
me
one.
too. I'm taking Pittsburgh too.
Panthers at the Jaguars. Battle of the Cats.
Oh, give me the Panthers.
I will take the Jags. I gotta stick with them if I'm hyping them up. Cardinals at the Saints.
Oh, y'all, okay, who's watching that game?
Who's watching any of these games?
I'll take the Cardinals.
I'll take the cards as well. Keep in mind, people, first the September is always a doozy. So
Oh yeah, there's going to be some ridiculous games in here,
there's
but
gonna be teams winning. Remember when the Saints put up like 40 points in back-to-back games and then ran to the Eagles and then their season was a mess.
Joe Joe Burrow had an MVP quality season last year. He threw for under 200 yards against the Patriots in Week 1 and didn't throw a single touchdown. So
Yeah.
that's like weird stuff happens.
Yeah. Division game, Giants at the Commanders. I would not be shocked if the Giants just stole this game, but I'm gonna say Washington.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Washington. If the game was in New York, I would be almost
Yeah.
tempted to do it.
Buccaneers at the Falcons. I'm gonna ride with my division winner, take the Bucks.
I'll ride with mine and go Falcons.
All right. ATO. Bengals at the Browns. I'm just because the Bengals always start
Don't
slow,
act like that. No,
I'm
no,
taking the Browns.
no. Give me the Bengals. The layup.
You would think we thought it was a layup last year.
The layup. Although, did you know that Joe Burrow is 1-11 in his first two games of the year?
That's why I'm taking the Browns.
It's insane. It has to stop at some point.
That's why they played in the preseason game. Um, Raiders at the Patriots. This could be an interesting
Ooh,
game.
that would be a good game.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Patriots, but I think it's gonna be a good game.
I'm gonna take the Raiders. I do think being at home helps the Pats, but I think I'm telling you, the Raiders I think are gonna be sneaky.
Yeah,
Um, Niners at the Seahawks.
Seahawks,
I'm gonna
give 'em to me.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna say that's one of the best home field advantages. I'll take Seattle. Um, Titans at the Broncos. Yeah, I'm gonna write down Broncos for you too.
Yeah, Denver. Yeah, don't have this.
Lions at the Packers, starting off hot.
Oh, oof,
Sunday at
oof,
4:30
oof. In Green Bay,
in Green Bay, Lambeau Field.
give me the Packers.
I don't even know if Micah's gonna play.
I know.
His
He'll make it
back is
work.
apparently a little worse than people thought.
Yeah, he's gonna need some. He actually did have a back injury. Isn't that funny? After all that, we all thought he was lying.
Yeah.
He actually did have a back injury.
Yeah. You taking the Packers? I'm gonna take the Lions. I think the Lions start off the year on a strong note. Texans at the Rams. Good
Wait,
try, but
can I just say that I think that the Lions lose because of a really bad Dan Campbell over aggressive decision.
oh, 100%.
I think that's the determining factor of that
He
game.
goes for on like second or fourth and 8 from the 30-yard line. Um, okay, Texans at the Rams.
Ooh, that's a good game.
See, we had a couple toilet bowl games, and now we have a couple
Yeah,
blockbusters.
some of those are really good. I'm good. Ooh, what are you thinking? That's tough.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Rams. Actually, Stafford's still a little iffy. I might go Houston here, to be honest. Surprise! It's a week one surprise game. I'm gonna go. You know, what, I'm gonna change my pick. I'm gonna go Houston. You said nothing. You convinced me.
I'm gonna go Rams, but this is the game I'm least likely to actually put any money on.
Oh yeah, I'm not. I don't think I'm doing any parlays on money line winners. I think I'm just gonna do some stat stuff. But um, and then 2 games left. We're gonna skip the Sunday night for now because that's the better game. Monday night, Vikings at the Bears.
I think that's gonna be a sneaky good game too.
Could be in
Ooh,
Chicago.
you
Mm,
know what? Give me Chicago. Give me
coach's
Chicago.
first game.
Ben Johnson's going to pull out some crazy stuff, trying to win that first, getting some excitement for the season. JJ McCarthy is going to be a little too overwhelmed for the moment. Plus, they don't have Jordan Addison because he's suspended.
That's true. I like that take. Comes out on fire. That could set the tone for their year. And then Sunday night game, one of the best games of the week, hopefully. Ravens at the Bills.
Ooh,
Could be a
AFC Championship
potential.
preview.
Yep, yep. I'll let you take the lead.
Give me the Ravens.
In Buffalo, I'm gonna take the Bills.
If it was Buffalo late in the year, I'd go Buffalo. But Buffalo, there's going to be no weather advantage. There's going to
Yeah,
be none of that. I'm going. I'm going. Give me.
there'll be some broken tables scattered
I
around the
think.
stadium.
I think Lamar's still pretty angry that he went first team All Pro and you gave the MVP to Josh Allen. So
Even in the top 100 just ended. Saquon our boy, number one. But Lamar Jackson came in second, and Josh Allen came in third. So even the players were like, "Yeah, you gave the MVP to the wrong guy."
yeah.
But
I think Lamar is. I think he's going to be on an absolute mission this year.
we'll see. I mean, like our narrative suggested, he's gonna get them to the Super Bowl. So we'll see. But all three of us, Tim also had Eagles over the Ravens. So um,
Really?
yeah. So we're all birds versus birds with the Eagles on top. So
Here's a question for you.
okay.
Who ends up starting first playoff game Actually, I'm not going to go that way. What is the biggest move Howie Roseman's going to make the rest of this year? Because there's no way he doesn't make one. They've got too many picks. Who's he bringing? A defensive back, an edge rusher.
I uh
They have the deepest linebacking room in the NFL.
I think um it depends on how the defense performs. I think if Nolan Smith picks up where he left off in the playoffs, and if Jalen Hunt, develops really well, I don't think they really touch edge because I think they like their supplemental pass rushers. If they struggle, I think they go edge. But I think if that second corner spot is a revolving door and there's some struggles and Washington is tight on our heels and the rest of the NFC is still really tight and the Eagles are still trying to get like a number one, number two seed and Cleveland is ass, I think Denzel Ward, they're going to come knocking for Denzel Ward and then make the greatest secondary of all time with him and
S-
Quinyon and Coop and Blankenship and McCuber, whoever starts at other safety. So that would be my pipe dream. But I think realistically, it depends on if they get enough out of the edge, they'll go address corner. But if they don't get enough out of the edge, which is such an important position, I think they'll be like, you know what, the secondary is doing okay. We really need more pass rush. I think they'll go get a pass rusher.
So I could see a Denzel Ward, grabbing a corner from one of them. I
Mm,
could see that. I think the biggest thing, I think Nakobe Dean and Keely Ringo are not on this team going into the
wow.
playoffs.
Wow.
I think when Nakobe Dean comes back, there is no place for him. And I think they're going to look at that and say, we're not going to bring him back next year because
Contract
you've
year, right?
already locked is his contract here. You've
Yeah.
locked up Zach Bond. I mean, Jahad Campbell is absolutely going to be your other starter. And I
Crowder's
think you
been
look at
good.
Trotter's a cheap, good backup.
Mm,
And Smile Mondon, he's going to be a great special teamer, and he looks like he could be a player. I think they trade Nakobe for something, whether that's in the package for a player. Um, and I think Ringo is in the same boat. I think that they basically realize, because Howie will cut his losses. I
yeah.
think they thought he would have taken that step by now. He hasn't.
He
Um,
he was also a late pick. It wasn't like we took a first with him, but
no, 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 but he was, he by this point they expected him to take over that CB2. He's not. Um, I mean, Jacorian Bennett was here for 2 weeks and he already looked like a better DB than him in this defense.
he'll probably end up taking
Um,
the starting role, honestly.
I think Jacorian by week 6 will be our starting CB2
Yeah.
unless they make a trade for one.
I think
Um,
Adori's going to get torched week by week two. They put in Ringo, and then by, like you said, week 4 or 5, we see
yeah,
Bennett.
yeah, but I think Nakobe and Keely Ringo are not on this team post trade deadline.
You're going to break up the Georgia Bulldogs like that.
I think it's I just I, you they I think it's time. I do. And what are you going to do with Nakobe when he comes back? And for what? Just to keep him on your I mean, if anything, like I think you're doing him a service by
Yeah.
allowing him to go play somewhere. Like, do you think he's going to come and sit on the bench? Like, who does that help?
No, I mean, I'm with you, especially with the injury concerns too, because, you know, before this injury, he's had nagging injuries. Um, and yeah, Jahad Campbell, you kind of took him. I think the idea is they want to use him as a pass rusher and a stand-up linebacker, but yeah, well,
I think, listen, I mean, I think they like him in a similar Zach Bond role where you are an off-ball backer, but they can roll you up to the line and rush you sometimes, but it's still going to be as one of the off-ball backers.
do
Like,
you
I think,
do you think we see is his impact going to be similar to like a Cooper DeJean, you think, like right off the bat? He's going to be that
like,
impressive?
I think Cooper was more consistent. I think Cooper's consistency level, other than Adam Thielen last year, he was an absolute dog.
Oh, Adam Thielen
Um,
cooked him, and he
cooked
admitted
him,
it. Yeah.
cooked him. Um, So I think that Jahad Campbell's going to have a ton of splash plays. Wouldn't
Hmm.
surprise me if he has 5 sacks. Um, couple forced fumbles. But I think he's going to make more rookie mistakes than a Cooper DeJean did. Bad
Yeah,
personal
over
foul,
pursuing.
over pursue,
Yeah,
not not covering the right guy, blown coverage assignment. So like Cooper didn't really have that.
right.
He was just all around solid. Quinion didn't really have that. But his athleticism is just off the charts. I mean, if he didn't have that quote unquote those injury histories, he was a top 10 player. So
I mean, how many
uh
times do we hear that with a player the Eagles took in the on defense? If they didn't have
yeah.
injury concerns, they would have been top this, top that.
Well, and Landon, that's how you got Landon Dickerson in the
Yeah,
second round too.
yeah.
Um, so, he was absolutely the top interior offensive lineman in that draft. They weren't worried about his legs, which is not a,
He,
it's not, I mean, he could be a guy who plays 2 more years and then his legs do give out.
you
Like
think
it's
so?
very much possible.
Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, he's already got another knee injury. Like there is a cumulative effect of having all these, a
Oh
tightrope,
yeah,
both ACLs. Like he's been through it.
yeah. We'll see. He might even play Thursday. They were saying. I think they should
Yeah.
hold him out, but
Oh, he's gonna play. He's a full participant in practice
oh,
today.
okay. Well,
He's gonna play.
alrighty. Hopefully we need him. So,
Yeah.
um, and then Steen we'll see with him at guard, but um,
Listen,
yeah,
if your worst player is Tyler Steen at right guard, you're gonna be fine.
yeah, you can get away with a so-so guard. It's your tackles and your center, I think, are a little more important sometimes, but we'll see. We'll see. Goddard's in a contract year. He might have the best year of his career of his life.
Dude, and listen, I wouldn't mind seeing a little Darius Cooper out there, man. He's exciting.
He's got a real number now. I think he's wearing 80 or something or 81.
Yeah,
So
he's wearing 80, which
not
receivers
41.
receive which 80 what used to be such a good receiver number. So many guys have gotten away from the 80s.
Yeah, I think Mechie already changed from like 80 to 18 or
Eight,
something.
18, 18, yeah.
But
They've got that they've got you know what? I was impressed they moved on from Anaya Smith too. Cut your loss. Like he's not who we thought he was gonna be.
he
I was actually impressed
looked
with them.
he looked like a fourth, fifth string receiver. I don't think he was doing anything special. He was just a short,
No,
speedy guy. But
no, no. I like that they were willing to move on. Um,
yeah,
yeah. I think they're gonna be legit. I really do. I think this offense is gonna be absolutely electric, and I think the defense is gonna be better than people are giving it credit for.
I will say on to end on the Eagles too, kind of how you're alluding to they're going to do more passing and Jalen's going to have a better season. I think the number change is going to make a big difference for Jahan Dotson. I think we're going to see an explosive Jahan Dotson, man. I do. He showed a little bit of
I think
flash in the playoffs. Super Bowl, he had a good game.
he did.
So
He could potentially be the punt returner too.
I mean, why not? You know, but we'll see. I like Devontae and Mechie is going to be fun because they were teammates. So see if they have
Yep.
any kind of special bond and if they can play
They
well together. So
they brought in another one of their teammates too on the practice squad, Javon Baker. He played at
okay.
Alabama with them too.
Well, Alabama offense, Georgia defense really can't go wrong. So, but all right, great episode. Thanks for hopping on as always, and Eagles hopefully back-to-back Super Bowl champs. We will see.
Awesome.
All right, go Birds.
Go Birds.
Peace.